Morning everybody, my name's Phil Cox. I'm a very amateur habber from Oxfordshire. We have one successful flight under our belt from last year, and the focus of this year is to develop a deployable parachute device for future HAB flights. We base our design on a tandem parachute system. So here we have the drogue parachute, and this is what you'd see after the tandem master and student exit the plane. Tandem master pitches the drogue, which slows their fall so the cameraman can keep up, but also provides a stable free fall as well, given there are two people in one harness. This is based on a sea anchor design, and it was stitched by someone who knows how to use a sewing machine, so I think we've got plenty of strength. It's made of ripstop nylon. That ultimately attaches to our parachute container and deployment bag. So again, in a sports system, if you imagine the container as the suspension webbings here, normally you wouldn't see the deployment bag, it would be hidden away in the container. And here we have the cutaway device from the drogue, ultimately attached to the parachute. So once that's released, the parachute has enough drag provided by the drogue to extract itself using the weight of the payload. Now in static testing, this has worked absolutely perfectly, no problem at all. Clearly there are lots more dynamics involved when you're falling through the air. There's maybe oscillation and maybe all sorts of things going on, which is never good when you want to deploy a good canopy. You want a nice stable platform for that canopy to come off of. A slight addition is that we have a line cover here, and there are a couple of reasons for doing that. I'm not sure how the really cold temperatures around 10-11 kilometres will affect these lines. Now when we picked up our HAB last time, the lines were all fine, as was everything else. Didn't seem to have taken too much of a battering. NASA would put heaters in there probably, but then they would have cold soaked for probably a lot longer. Clearly we can't have something weighing huge amounts, so we thought we'd give it a little bit of protection and see what happened. So the lines are bunged across the front of the deployment bag, backwards and forwards, and they close up the deployment bag through two loops, which are extracted in sequence when the pin is pulled. Now you can see the deployment bag pin. If you want to have a look at how this works, there is another video of mine posted recently which shows it dangling in our stairwell. Clearly there's no tandem master to release the drogue, so we have to do it in a motorised fashion, and I found this little motor online which is geared down, gives us plenty of torque, and in testing with a 1 kilo weight underneath, it extracts no problem at all. It takes about 15 seconds for that to happen. So clearly we have to build that into our calculations in terms of the software, etc, etc. We've got one or two snag hazards here. Clearly the motor is one. It doesn't prove a problem in testing, and in fact the webbing that the motor is attached to is the first to be released from that cutaway device, and the theory is, and in practice, it falls away from the package. Next snag hazards are these little bits of line here. Now I've sealed the ends with a flame, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to put one or two cotton stitches in there just to keep them together, as we would for these other bits and pieces here. So those are the ends of the parachute lines, which ultimately are attached to the balloon. And that is as far as we've got at the moment. One thing that we are very conscious of is power failure. So if we get a complete power failure, how are we going to extract a good main canopy? My only thinking on this at the moment is use of an electromagnet, and which is energised all of the time, and if the power cuts, then the magnet no longer attaches itself and we release that way somehow, but that's going to be quite a tricky thing to engineer. So it's back to the drawing board for that, but be really interested in people's feedback. Thanks for watching.